Hey, hello, and welcome to another video about the Zelda-like prototyping construct 3. In the last video, I was talking about the interactable objects and the trigger events and like how to like uh, use like pressure plates and push on blocks to open up a staircase. So if you have not seen the video and you kind of want to see more about that, check the previous video. This video is gonna be about something else for a change. Like in the last video, last couple of videos, I was actually talking about the interactables, and although we're not completely done with that, I do think like what we have built so far is working and something that we can expand upon. And once we do, we will definitely discover some new issues or problems that we have to fix again, or some limitations with what we have built. So after having done that, in the last week, in the last couple weeks though, I didn't have that much time because of two reasons. First of all, like my daily job just took a little bit more energy and time than usual. But also the other one, which is also quite important, I think it was like maybe a little bit longer than just a week ago. We held a live stream for the main game that I'm actually working on, which is called Horizon Danger. Horizon Danger is a local multiplayer, fast-paced action game with a somewhat cosmic horror, sci-fi type setting. It's somewhat similar to Samurai Gun or Towerfall. Kind of sometimes explain it as a more like a side scroller Bomberman, but then more chaotic, more action. So if you're curious what I've been working on for the last 10 years, this project started in 2013. Be sure to check out that live stream recording. I'm planning on making a highlight reel, but that's something for later. Right now, there's like a complete video. Just this showcases the game itself and where I talk about Horizon Danger. Some of them, here and there, a little bit of in depth, or also about the development, but just mainly about what can you actually expect from this game. With that said, that actually meant I didn't have a lot of time to work on it, but on this prototype, this is just for funsies, and let's just see where it goes. On the other hand, I did have some time to actually think about like, okay, what is the next step gonna be, and what do I want to work on right now, which is gonna be beneficial or helpful for the project, and what has maybe more priority. And there were a couple of things that stood out, but the biggest one is definitely the inventory. If you have seen the videos before, if it wasn't clear, we are trying to make a Zelda-like game, and as a foundation or basis, I use the original Zelda game on the NES, the first one. And the prototype that I built actually had an inventory where we could select a primary and secondary weapon. So that could be like, choose a sword and, equip a bow in the secondary item slot. So, in the game so far, you only have like two buttons to actually use, like either use a sword or the secondary weapon. That could be a bow. And the problem with, or when I mention problem, I don't mean it in a negative sense. It's just a challenge, or like a something that we have to overcome or think about, or with that said, there's a problem with the original Zelda inventory, that it's somewhat limiting, which is kind of like a nice thing, but you do have like the standard slots, like there's the sword, there's a bomb, there's the bow, and there's some passive items that you can't equip. Those are maybe displayed somewhere else, but you do have like a couple rows, maybe 3 or 4, like I don't know from the top of my head, which is kind of nice. Like if you know, like, okay, this game is only gonna have these items, and we kind of want to restrict like all the options for the player to choose from, like from a game design standpoint, it makes sense. But with the game that I'm currently working on, the Zelda-like prototype that I'm gonna show in a couple of seconds or minutes, I'm not sure like where it's heading towards to. Like it's just it started off to build like a Zelda like prototype or game, and from there on just see where it's heading towards to. And we're already making it maybe a little bit more complex than what it has to be. With the interactables, the trigger events, like having the ability to trigger something else, trigger something in one screen, and then a door opens in another screen, and maybe a door actually needs like two triggers. And like that's not something that there are some interactables and trigger events like in the original Zelda, but not that complicated. Two triggers. I don't know, but I think you know what I mean. So the inventory, yeah, I do have some ideas for this game in my mind. Like, okay, where I think it's heading towards to, but it's something that could change daily. And I do have like a main theme in my head. Like, okay, I think this would be a nice game. And maybe I'm a little bit vague, or I'm not making it really specific, because sometimes I think like, it should actually be this, or then I think it should actually be this, or even from the gameplay, like how you play the game, it should go like this, or it could go like this. I kind of like having the idea of just heading into a certain direction, just see where it goes to. Like this is not like a commercial project at the moment. This is just something fun to do, and maybe it ends up being something cool, or it ends up being very or not cool, the opposite, very hot. Oh. So yeah, what was I actually trying to say? I don't want to make it too specific, because maybe you think like, oh, that's actually kind of cool, and you expect it to go into some way, and the next week I say like, no, it's going to be like this. But one thing that I do know though is that the inventory that I built was somewhat limiting, and I wanted to make that more complex. Hey, there's a certain theme in these videos that I have a tendency to make it more complex than is actually necessary. But the inventory, like how it was built, was somewhat limiting. And with each idea that I have, I do want a more complex inventory, something that has more functionality behind it, with some limitations though. But it's also a little bit more about exploring what I can and can do in Construct 3, because I'm learning Construct 3. My experiences from Construct 2, like Horizon Danger is made in Construct 2. So that's like my main experience with that tool. So in this video, I didn't have that much time. So what I'm going to show is in progress. Each video is in progress, but definitely this time, finally, we're not talking about the interactables. Not in depth, like I mentioned the interactables, but I'm going to talk about the inventory, and I am going to talk about what I have in mind, and what I want to see, and kind of want to delve a bit deeper into what makes it so complex, for me at least. Like I do have some prior experience with making inventories. There's even a game that on the YouTube channel, a prototype called Deso. It's a first person kind of thing, and I tried to replicate the Minecraft Dungeons inventory system in Godot, which was very fun to do, by the way. I love Godot. Someday I hope I do have some more time to work in Godot again, but this time we're working in Construct 3. But there are some similarities between that inventory system and the one that I'm building right now. So yeah, let's just show what I have right now, and then actually go into talk a little bit more about what I actually want to build, and where the project is heading towards to. This is, by the way, the second video that I tried to record today, or the third even. Has some technical difficulties, so I want to keep it short. It's Sunday. I'm set a timer, 15 minutes. It's probably gonna go longer. But yeah, it doesn't matter. So here's the prototype. Let's move around. Not gonna mention the interactables because that's not important for this video. What is important though is that I'm gonna press 1. I'm gonna cheat a little bit so that I have some items in my inventory. Just have like a small debug, like okay, if I press 1, like add this item, add this and this and this and this, so that I actually have something to test out with. Again, we had an inventory. I think you can see that you can at least see that in one of the previous videos. But this is definitely work in progress. So let's open up the inventory to show what I have right now. And there's not much happening right now. As I mentioned, I pressed 1. I gave myself some items, and these are the items. What is missing is, there are some icons. There are some, there are some items to show. So if I press up and down, we can actually scroll to or through the inventory. And, the top item is a sword. Then we have like bow, the lantern, and the arrows. Then this is, I think, a health potion, and I gave myself 3 other lanterns because those are not stackable, so they are, using a separate inventory slot. And there's no limit to the inventory. There was a limit, but no longer is there a limit to the inventory, which is kind of what I wanted because I don't know which items are going to end up in this game. And and the functionality that we actually need, but I have a feeling this is the way to go. It's a gut feeling. That's the thing. It's a gut feeling. I think this is better for the game that we might build someday than the other inventory that we actually had. It's a feeling. Because I don't have a design doc or something like that. It's all notes. We will see. We will see where it's heading towards to. So that's actually what we have. And the thing that you can see, like if I press the interact button or like equip or use or confirm, in the console, and that's something that you are not able to see right now. It actually says like, okay, in this slot, there's this item. In this slot, there's this item. And I will show some game examples, some screenshots from another game. Some screenshots of an inventory that I want to build, that I just use as an inspiration to show a little bit more like, okay, this is probably going to be the next step. So these are just icons, but, there's going to be, at least the icons are not going to end up there because the inventory or the interface of the inventory is just going to end up like in the space here where you do see the ground. And what you will always see, I think, if you go either in a pause menu or another menu or whatever, this interface right here where it shows like, okay, you got these items equipped, you got this amount of health and this money and mana if we do have that. That's all stuff that is going to be displayed in the upper bar. And the inventory, like menu stuff, is not going to overlap that. That's just going to end up below this black bar, like down here. So these icons over here, I might capture the mouse at the moment, not gonna test it out, but I do see a mouse moving, so let's hope it ends up there. So I will just explain it in detail. The sword icon, it's probably gonna end up in the second row of the bushes or the trees or whatever they are. That's where the inventory is going to end up. And then what I want to have is, for example, if we pick the sword in the upper left, there's going to be a name of the item and maybe the amount that we have, because that's going to be useful for the arrows. Like, hey, these are arrows and you do have like this quantity of this item. And there's actually going to be some more info there based on the inventory. And let's not forget to talk about that, but that's maybe for something in a couple minutes. So that's what I'm trying to do. Another thing that we can actually do right now, and there's a small hint. That's actually not something that you can see on the capture. What I want, because there's no limit of items that we can actually have in the current inventory, is that I want to have the ability to filter the items and based on the type get an overview of, hey, what kind of swords do I have, what kind of bows do I have, like range weapons, what items are consumable, which items are quest items. So what I built, that was something that I was working on like here and there in the last couple days. And now let's hope it works. I'm gonna press E, and there we go. So we switch from show me all the items to just the swords that we have. I'm gonna press E again, then I'm showcasing all the bows, then the consumables. This is an health icon, health potion, by the way. If you don't know, look at the beautiful art. And those are the things that I can actually select right now. I can just add more items or types of items. It's all set up that I can just remove something and add something. But the nice thing is, let's not forget that I can actually filter out the type of items that I have. And I will show the screenshot of the game that I'm using as a inspiration or as a as a design like that I actually want to replicate and build and tweak so that it becomes maybe more my own thing. But it's probably gonna be a not a one-to-one duplicate, but somewhat similar. Hey, we're building a Zelda-like prototype. So that is that. That is actually what I have right now. And the problem is, yes, that's maybe a good segue. I hope. The problem is right now I'm opening up an inventory. And what we do want to do is the previous inventory, I could just press the primary weapon button and that would equip that item to that button if that was an equipable item. If I press the secondary item key, we would equip that item. But here is the complexity and something that is breaking my brain a little bit because there's a lot that needs to be built to make this whole thing work. It's a lot of work. That is why I'm just recording this video to show a little bit like definitely like this is in progress. So I can filter out the type of items. I can load in an inventory. But how do I know what I can equip? Like if I press confirm, what actually happens? So where to begin even? Yeah, let's just show a screenshot. Do I have that over here? No, I think I have that over here. Nope. Yeah, it's here. Let's show image 3 first, and this is gonna be a shocker, maybe. It's a I'm drawing inspiration from a very unknown game, which is called Demon's Souls, and that has an inventory looking like this, and this is what I want to build, actually. So at the top you can actually see. Okay, that's something that it can point towards to. Well, what you can see is like there's a row of like items. You got like the key, the sword, and then the arrow for the range, the helmet for the armor, and then the rings, and I think the last one are the spells. So that's something that we're gonna end up having probably in this game as well. Something to filter the items to quickly show like, okay, what items do I have actually in this category. And then based on that, what you can see is like, for example, here, these are the consumables. I think like the first bag, like those are just all consumables. Like these are the healing items. So we do actually have like a name and a small description of what they actually do. Then you do get like an image on the right. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that, but maybe the right actually shows like a description of the item. And the tricky part is actually what you see like all the way at the top is that, currently the inventory is selected and the first screen. So that's the shield with the 2 swords. That's actually this image. So this is something that you open up in Demon Souls. This is where you select, okay, on the right hand, I want to equip this weapon or this range weapon. And on the armor slots, I want this and that, to select and equip. So to make this inventory to actually work, I have to build that as well, because I need to have like a different screen that actually shows like, okay, this is something where you can equip an armor. And if I press on the armor slot, I need to open up the inventory. And no, I'm not going to show all the items that I want to equip because I select the armor slot or like a ring slot. Maybe that's even the best example. If I want to equip a ring, I don't care about the swords and the bows and all the other items that I have. I just want to simply show the rings that I have currently in my inventory. So I need to build that menu as well. It's not going to be complex, but one thing requires the other thing, and the other thing requires the other thing to actually work. So right now, what I have to do is that once we open up the equipment, yes, it's actually called equipment, we have to be able to select a slot. Once we do that, the game actually needs to know that we are in an inventory with a certain goal in mind to equip a thing. So what I need to do is that I hope you follow me along, but this is like the thing that's breaking my head. Like, okay, there are so many in between steps. So once I press the equip slot of the ring, I need to open up the inventory. The inventory needs to know I need to filter these items in the inventory, only the things that are selectable for the equipment slot. Once the player presses A or confirm, that item needs to be equipped to that previously selected equipment slot, and then something has to happen. I didn't even think about that, but if I'm actually going to do something with rings and like stats, then certain actions actually have to happen. Like, okay, now add these stats, and once we remove those stats. I'm not going to talk about that too much right now, but so we do luckily now have the ability to filter at least the inventory, but then now I have to build the equipment menu as well. And that's why why I'm recording this video, because it's time consuming. It's requiring a lot of time because I wanted to build a complexer menu. So that is one step, but there's another hurdle. Is that what I want to do though? Is that I was talking about like interactables, but that I was actually planning on building the NPC interactable. Like there's a NPC that you could actually talk to. What happens when there's an NPC? Sometimes they give an item. Sometimes you can sell items to them, or you can buy an item. So in the original Zelda, you get like the 3 items on a row and you just walk to it and you pick it up, and that's how you buy it. That's something that we could do in this game, and we still have the ability to do that. But there's another option. Is that once you talk to an NPC, just like Demon Souls, you do get a menu of like just talking to them, maybe give them an item, talk about like a quest, or sell or buy items from them. So once we do get like a menu like that, we do have to, for example, we're going to buy an item. That means buy item, then an inventory has to open up, but not my inventory. The inventory of that NPC has to be pulled into that inventory interface with the action of confirm. That once we press confirm on an item, we're not equipping an item, we're not selling an item, we're buying an item. So there's a different action based on the confirm button while we are in the buying state in an inventory. Now the nice thing is that of the nice thing. Um, I hope that makes sense. So let's go over the selling. The selling is the same. If there's a menu with an NPC and we can sell an item, that means we have to show the populate the inventory interface with our inventory. And that means showcasing all the items, but maybe not quest items. Oh man, that's tricky. I actually didn't think about that. Maybe quest items are just not sellable, and that should be like a flag that we can turn on and off. We need to build that. I did not think about that. Or maybe you do have the ability to sell a quest item, and you're just, you know, bad luck. It's maybe a more even crazier demon souls. Who knows? That means if we sell an item, select an item, then the confirm button has the functionality of selling that item. It becomes something else. So it's no longer equip this item, not buying an item, but selling an item. But there's another option that we probably might end up in, is that maybe an item needs to be used on an interactable, but we need to select an item from our inventory. So, I think the idea is kind of clear, that the confirm button, that somehow we need to be able to track, like if we are opening up the inventory and we press confirm on an item, then this happens. This is going to happen. It's not about equipping, it's not about buying, it's maybe about selling. So that's kind of like the complexity. Earlier I said, like, luckily I was already thinking kind of ahead while building this inventory. At the moment, like how it is built, I'm not going to show it. I will show it once it's fully working. The nice thing though is that the inventory right now, when I open it up, it pulls data from a separate JSON file that has like my inventory, but I can populate that inventory with any other JSON file with any other items that I want to display over there. So it's just a matter of tracking somewhere, like, okay, if you press confirm, this is gonna happen. So that's the next step that I actually have to build. So the inventory, that interface is already set up, again, with the idea of like, okay, right now we're showing this inventory. That's the inventory of the player, but it could be an inventory of an enemy, an NPC, from a chest, or whatever. It's about like populating the inventory of that interface with whatever you want to display. And, when we press A, this is going to happen. That is not going to be that tricky though, but it's something that we have to build. The trickiest part right now is making that equip screen. Equip armor, equip a weapon, equip rings, or whatever we want to end up with. That is something that we have to build. And, so go from that menu, go to the other menu, and then go back to the other menu with, having that item equipped. It's tricky, man. I love building inventories, but it's super tricky. Again, I had some prior experience with like, okay, figuring out like, okay, what do you all, or what do you need? Luckily, I'm not building something, and I built like an inventory in Kudo for another prototype before. Luckily, we don't have anything about like, okay, we need to drag like an item from one slot to another, or we have the ability to stack items and select them, because that's actually what you could somewhat do like in Minecraft dungeons, and especially just in Minecraft. That's something that we don't have. We just have like a list of items. I do believe that's a little bit simpler, but there's still some, some tricky stuff that can actually occur. Is there something else to talk about the inventory right now? Not that much. So that's actually what the project is right now. We do have like an item list, that's just the icons. I can filter them based on certain filters, and I can add more keywords to that filter to filter the items. What I do have to do is rethink like the type of categories that I want. Probably will just build a similar category list of like the one in Demon Souls. But yeah, that's it. So this is definitely a work in progress. It's already like a prototype, which is work in progress, but the inventory right now, it took a lot of time to actually make it work like how it is right now. But it's working, and that is why I wanted to show it. But yeah, that's kind of. Is that really all? That's definitely all. Yes. So I think maybe next week, because I was posting more videos about the prototype, like 2 in a week. I think right now, with how fast things are going, it's gonna be once a week, or maybe show like a shorter one, like just a progress update. But that is where the progress or the game right now is at. You know, again, like I was thinking about or talking about it in the previous video, like, yeah, maybe talk or maybe make an NPC. But then I was thinking, no, if you are gonna build an NPC, you might get like to buy the sell option. You want to have like the inventory, and there's just a couple things that made me decide like this definitely has more priority right now than the interactable, having an interactable NPC. And I think what's gonna be cool, once we do have like the equip screen, I think another step is gonna be the stats. I do have some ideas for that, but that you do actually get some stats based on items that you equipped, or maybe we are gonna keep it simple, that certain armor has like resistance for like fire or poison, who knows. Because that then we still keep it a little bit like in the original Zelda 5, where you had like the with Link to the Past, where you had like different tunics, but now you do have like maybe a couple more, but they just have like a resistance or a certain effect, like double the health, or what is the other one again, double the health or double the damage. But yeah, that is just gonna be cool. I think once we have like the inventory, like we can expand upon that and build some cooler stuff again. But again, first the equip screen. I have built a equip screen before in Construct 2, so I do have some ideas on how that should actually work. But now it's about like connecting everything together, what is making it so complex. And once we start connecting things, like things are gonna break again, and then we have to do it like this, and then we have to do it like that, if that makes any sense. So here's a short overview. This was not a short overview, but this is kind of like where it's at right now. So I just wanted to share that. I hope that was like entertaining or fun to hear. If you do have some questions about it, please do let me know in the comments. Happily to answer those. Once it's a little bit further, I will actually show how it is built with the functions, and I will show how it is actually built, just an overview, like how everything is working together. Again, last week or so, we had a live stream for the Horizon Danger, which is the main game that I'm actually working on in my spare time. It's not, game development is not my full-time job. That's actually, teaching. So the Horizon Danger is my secondary job, I guess. If you want to know more about that project and you kind of want to see like, okay, the game that actually that I have been working on for the last 10 years, be sure to check out that video. It's the Horizon Danger live stream recording. There's gonna be a highlight video, but I am not sure like when that's gonna go up, and I think with the talking over it, like there might not be that much or footage that I can actually use, but I actually have to go over it and edit it. So just check out that video if you want to know what I've been working on. Horizon Danger, I already explained what it was, but that's a solo project with music by Menger and Meester, but I did all the technical and the visual stuff of the game and the sound effects. So be sure to check that out. With that said, have a nice day, and see you all later. And just briefly want to say, I really appreciate the amount of people actually checking out these videos, because normally I get like 5 views or so, but these videos have been doing well, and that has been fun to see, and has been a motivational thing to actually keep working on this, because it has been my dream. No, I always really wanted to build a Zelda-like game, and maybe someday this is actually gonna end up being, or it's gonna end up being a fun game. Who knows? We will see. Maybe in the next video it's all done. Be sure to check it out. See you all later. Have a nice day, and bye.